Thanks for watching CBS 5 News at noon. I'm Samantha German. We'll have your top 5 stories and the forecast in just a minute. But first, we begin with breaking news this noon. Due to severe drought conditions, the city of Oswego is asking neighbors to conserve water immediately for the next several weeks. This includes residents in the towns of Scriba and New Haven, who also use the city's water. Mayor Billy Barlow says that the city's ground storage water tank level is quickly approaching a critically low level. Neighbors are asked to put off watering their lawns, washing their cars, or filling up their pools until after Labor Day. The Gallagher Pool at Fort Ontario will stay open, but the water spray pools at parks throughout the city will be shut down until conditions improve. Time now to check on that forecast with meteorologist Matt Stevens. Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, Samantha. We're going to take a quick live look towards downtown Syracuse on our Stanley Law Sky Watch, brought to you by Adirondack Furniture. All is dry, a mix of sun and a few clouds right now. Pertinent to that breaking news that you just showed us off the top of the broadcast, updated drought monitor graphic. The U.S. Drought Monitor has issued their weekly Thursday morning update. As you can tell, not a whole heck of a lot has changed. The only difference, remember that torrential rain we picked up southeast of Syracuse? That has changed us back to more of a normal setup for areas like Norwich, Hamilton, for example, up to Utica. However, the rest of us, we remain in a severe drought southwest of the city of Syracuse, immediate Syracuse area, a moderate drought. Now, this is a graphic from the DEC, the New York State DEC, and they have deemed that the western half of the state is now in a drought warning, eastern half of the state under a drought watch. Now, they themselves, remember this contrasts with what Sam was just saying, they themselves say that not everyone is under a water restriction. That's up to the local municipalities, like Samantha just described to us, to place any sort of water restrictions in place. Dew points low to mid 60s this afternoon, so the water is in the air. It's not falling to the ground where we need it. Triple Doppler brought to you by Cayuga Community College is quiet. Temperatures are in the upper 70s to 80s right now. Look at that, 87 in Fulton, 81 in Syracuse. Looking for a high this afternoon of about 88 degrees under a mix of sun and just a few clouds. We're humid, we're warm, most of us ending up dry. We go even warmer on the 7-day. We'll talk about how warm coming up.
All right, thanks, Matt. Just after noon, these are the top 5 stories on CBS 5 News at noon. Authorities in London are trying to figure out what led to a stabbing spree last night that killed an American woman dead and injured 5 others. Authorities say a 19-year-old man armed with a knife attacked people at Russell Square near the British Museum. The man, who investigators say may be mentally ill, is now in police custody. Authorities have not ruled out terrorism as a motive. New this noon, Auburn police arrest a man who has been at the center of an ongoing manhunt in Tompkins County. Police say Harry White assaulted a woman at her home on Liberty Street yesterday. Police say he hit her with an axe handle, threatened her with a black handgun, attempted to strangle her with a belt, and then threw a cinder block through her car's window. White is also charged in another incident where he stole someone's credit card and used it at stores in Cayuga and Onondaga counties last week. White remains locked up at the Cayuga County Jail on $50,000 bond. State police continue to investigate what caused a crash in Oneida County that killed a New Hartford woman. It happened around 5:30 last evening on State Route 49 in the town of Floyd. Police say Dorothy Badaline was driving westbound when she crossed into the other lane and slammed into a pickup truck head-on. Police say Badaline died at the scene. The driver of the truck is expected to be okay. Daily fantasy sports is now legal in New York State. Governor Cuomo signed the new law yesterday. The measure calls the online contest a game of skill. This legal definition resolves the central argument in a lawsuit which compared the matches to illegal gambling. Back in March, New York-based FanDuel and Boston-based DraftKings agreed to stop operations in New York until the governor signed this law. The world is turning its attention to Brazil a day ahead of opening ceremonies for the Summer Olympic Games. The Olympic flame continued its journey through Rio today. Crowds on the beach cheered and applauded the water skiers who carried the Olympic torch. Team USA is on the ground in Rio and getting settled in the Athletes Village, joining 18,000 competitors from around the globe. Those are your top 5 stories on our CNY Central mobile app. You can get the news of the day and the forecast. It's free to download on any smartphone. Moving to election 2016. With less than 100 days to go until the election, Donald Trump is moving in the wrong direction. The latest poll numbers show the Republican nominee losing ground in key battleground states, and there are reports of division within his campaign. Craig Boswell has the latest from the White House.
Donald Trump says reports of chaos within his campaign are completely false.
And I have to say, our campaign is doing so nicely.
Just this week, Trump has attacked the family of a U.S. Army captain killed in combat, denied Russia's military involvement in Ukraine, said his daughter Ivanka should quit if she was harassed at work, refused to endorse leading Republicans in Congress, and lost the support of other prominent Republicans.
Nobody's ever seen anything like this. It's a one-man band. It is not a real campaign.
In the last couple of weeks, he has been remarkably underperforming, and we'll see whether or not he can take a deep breath and learn these lessons.
Hillary Clinton now has a 10-point lead in a national poll from Fox News. But perhaps what's more troubling for the Trump campaign is what's happening in the swing states. In Florida, Clinton now has a 6-point lead over Trump coming out of the Democratic convention. She has a 9-point advantage in Michigan, part of the industrial Midwest, where Trump has poured in a lot of resources. And in New Hampshire, Trump had a 2-point lead in May. He's now at a 15-point deficit.
We don't plan on winning in August. We plan on winning in November. In another week or so, the polls are going to even out. We always thought that.
Meanwhile, Clinton is going after the one area Trump leads her in the polls, the economy, pointing out that the businessman already outsources jobs to make his neckties and other Trump products. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
Our mission at CBS 5 is to connect the presidential candidates to our viewers to better inform and empower you. We reached out to the presidential candidates to participate in extended interviews, not only with our station, but our 65 sister stations across the country. We want to hear from you. Tell us what you want to know from the candidates. Please share your thoughts with us by email or on our Facebook page. Right now, health officials in South Florida have started attacking from the air to try to wipe out the mosquitoes that carry the Zika virus. And as scientists work on a vaccine, government health officials say lack of funding could slow down the research. Weijia Jiang has more from Miami.
Spraying from the air to try to stop the Zika virus began early Thursday in a 10-square-mile area in Miami. The target, the Aedes aegypti mosquito that's proved tough to get rid of. Miami-Dade County is using an insecticide called Nolid to spray the bugs from the air. In Puerto Rico, where nearly 5,000 cases of Zika have been reported, officials rejected using the chemical over health concerns. But the EPA insists the pesticide is safe. The Wynwood section of Miami is considered ground zero for health officials. At least 15 cases of locally transmitted Zika have been reported in South Florida. The attack on Zika from the ground is also being ramped up, but health officials acknowledge the spraying isn't working as well as they hoped. The National Institutes of Health is now testing a Zika vaccine that uses DNA, similar to research on other mosquito-borne viruses, including West Nile. 80 healthy volunteers are involved in the first round of testing. If successful, up to 5,000 more could be tested starting in January. Dr. Anthony Fauci says stalled funding in Congress could compromise the research.
The president asked for $1.9 billion in February.
Pregnant women are at greatest risk because Zika can cause devastating birth defects. All pregnant women in Florida can now be tested for free. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Miami.
Earlier this week, the CDC told pregnant women they should avoid the Wynwood area because of Zika concerns. Coming up on CBS 5 News at noon.
And a good early afternoon to you once again. I'm CBS 5 meteorologist Matt Stevens taking a look at your forecast to get you through this afternoon. And now we're looking at the visibilities of full standard 10 miles. So even though there's a little bit of haze to the air, there isn't a whole heck of a lot going on. It is going to turn more humid, though. We'll talk about how much more humid we go and how much hotter we go on our 7-day after the break.